Hi everybody, I hope you've enjoyed chapter 2 as well as chapter 1. Now we're going on to chapter 3. From the Every Gift a Curse by Caroline O'Donoghue. I regret not putting my shoes on. By the time we are in the hallway, I can feel that my socks are caked in ash, dust and general debris, little splinters of wood, tiny bits of gravel that have somehow found their way inside. It's coming from upstairs, Rue says, putting one foot on the stair. He closes his eyes. Hang on, I can see him burrowing down into his gift, taking to the house. The pipes, the wiring, hold my hand. I lace my fingers through his. He leads us up the rotting staircase, dodging each faulty step, taking his hand off the banister whenever he knows there is weakness. Your hand is shaking, Rue notes. You are not really scared, are you? No, I say. It is not convincing. It's probably squatters, a housing crisis. You know, but Rue didn't talk to Dory at the funeral. Rue didn't see the satisfaction in her eyes, the sense that the package would be all wrapped up just so. There was zero doubt in her voice that day. What if this is it, the end? Rue, I say, I love you. Okay. Huh? If anything happens, I don't want our last conversation to have been about I go. Okay, Meave, I love you too. But there's another sound, a sound of feet, a sound of furniture being dragged, a sound of movement. I feel Rue's hand tense, feel him thinking maybe it's not nothing after all. Up the stairs again. We are on the second floor now. Memories of doing my geography homework on the landing. Copy book propped up on my thigh. Minutes before class, Fiona telling me to hurry. That was only 7 months ago. Can really so much have changed? We reached the door of 3A and there's no doubt that whoever is in my house is behind that door. Hold on, Rue whispers. Looking around, he crouches down next to the defunct radiator, one of the many radiators I used to spend the winter months sitting on, and runs his hand along the thin copper pipe, fixing it to the wall. Come on, sweetheart, he whispers, and the pipe, swooning, comes away in Rue's hand. He examines it, focuses on it, and slowly it bends into the shape of a crowbar. That's his talent, okay? Did you just make a weapon? I whispered back, out of a radiator pipe. Rue shrugs like it's nothing. Come on, then, and then, with his hand on the door, he opens up 3A. We don't see anyone at first, but we do see it. What we do see is this: a sleeping bag, a backpack, and a camera. The camera throws me. It's a Polaroid, but one of those updated Polaroids they start making a few years ago, and the girls sometimes take to parties. It confuses me, but Rue's thoughts pattern instant clear. Why has someone brought a camera to a place where I have sex with my girlfriend? A strange mix of terror, relief, disgust washes over both of us. Oh, I think it's time. A pervert, a bog standard pervert, not a revenge demon. Well, that's something, isn't it? Then a voice, a familiar one. Rue, in with question mark. I whirl around, and Aaron is standing by the window, partially obscured by what's left of the curtains. I don't know who he says Rue's name first, or why he sounds so confused. But Aaron's here, and I feel a release, as though I have just found my passport. What the hell, I say. Aaron! Aaron is hanging out of the window, smoking a cigarette. There's some scaffolding that he is half balancing on. A pole he is leaning his back against. His hair is buzzed short. His eyes tired. He's lost weight. He didn't have very much of it to begin with. I can see the frame of his face, much more now, the bones of his cheeks jutting slightly. Dude, Rue says, already picking up the camera. What the hell? Put that down, Aaron says, far too fiercely. Why are you sneaking around St. Bernadette's with a camera? It's the emphasis on the word camera that throws Aaron slightly, and he pauses to take us both in. Then he realizes that we've clearly dressed ourselves in a hurry. Wow, he says dryly. I didn't realize I was interrupting the fall of Sodom and Gomorrah. Why are you carrying a copper pipe? Are you going to beat me to death with it? Jury's out, answered Rue, still holding the pipe. Oh, for God's sake. Sorry about that. I don't like using God's name in vain or otherwise. I call him the divine. What are you doing here? I asked. And where have you been? Aaron looks at me oddly, then, and cigarette hovering in front of his face. His eyes go between me and Rue and back again to me. Around, he says at last. I've been around. Next to the sleeping bag is a black plastic sack of clothes and a small backpack with its zip open. I can see a can of deodorant, some shower gel, a razor. Aaron, have you been sleeping rough? I've not been sleeping soft. So what, you've been around the world and now you are crashing here? He squints at me, as if trying to figure out my game, as if I'm the one talking riddles. It's too frustrating. I can hear my voice taking on a high manic tension at the tone of someone who might cry if she doesn't scream. You've had us all sick with worry. Aaron, I'm so excited to read this book because it's getting better and better. Aaron, and where are all terrified of the housekeeper stuff as it is? The least you can do is tell us why you left and why you are back, Rue adds with a camera. Rue moves towards it again, brows furrowed. Aaron steps away from the window. Don't touch it, Rue. His voice is low, with a hint of his old fundamentalist condescension. That tone of I know better than you do, kid. Why? Rue snaps. Why don't you want me to touch it? I'm struggling to understand why Rue is so interested in the camera. Even on his worst days, it's hard to imagine Aaron snooping around spying on us, but then I realize that the new old Polaroid camera is giving off a frequency that only Rue can read, in the same way I can see people, colors. Rue can see some kind of charge in the air, strange atoms that are slicing off this tiny machine. Just don't, okay? Aaron says, almost threatening. Just don't. Why are you here? I stress, trying to get back to the matter at hand. Rue is moving closer to the camera, and it's like watching two siblings in a turf war over the same shared bedroom. Aaron is twitching like he's about to spin out. Oh, for God's sake, Maeve, you know why I'm here. I am here because you sent me the note. The note? I am deeply confused by this. The note, Rue says, horrified. And finally, they forget about the stupid camera. What did it say? I asked, carefully assessing my memories, checking for any note sending when Heather Banbury was draining my magic. My moments were so fuzzy and hard to remember. Could some of the sickness be hanging over me still, without me realizing? But no, I had no idea where Aaron even was. How on earth could I send him a note to him? It doesn't matter, Aaron says. Was it to meet Maeve here? Rue asks, sounding deeply suspicious. Alone? Something like that, yes. Which is why you were so surprised that I was here. Rue's parents very much wanted him to be a doctor, but in my opinion, he would make much better a lawyer. Jesus, Rue, Aaron says, sounding exhausted. He starts massaging his temples like he has a migraine coming on. Give it a rest, will you? Sorry, I interrupted your rendezvous. I would make sure your tetanus shots are up to date. By the way, this is not a safe space to take your clothes off. Aaron leans out the window and taps his cigarette, and I can see a postcard sticking out of his jacket pocket. A postcard with writing on it, on the back. Rue sees it too. Is that it? Rue asks. The note. Rue reaches forward to grab it, and Aaron pushes him off. Only he pushes a little too hard, so Rue pushes back. Aaron's knees buckle against the windowsill, and instinctively he grabs at Rue to steady himself, but all he does is drag Rue out with him. Suddenly both of them have gone out of the window. I scream and rush to the sill, terrifyingly conscious that it's a 3-story drop, and Fiona is at home in bed. There's no one to mend broken legs, to stop heavy bleeding, to knit skin back together. I shouldn't have worried though, because as soon as I get to the window, I see that the scaffolding has caught them. They are both gingerly getting to their feet. The ground on only 2 planks of wood wide. Well, thank God for that, I breathe, almost feeling like I should say a prayer to something. Come on, I say, holding out my hand. I'll help you both up. But it's not over. Rue moves towards Aaron, furious. Why the hell did you do that? Why did you drag me out with you? The scaffolding rattles underneath them. Why did you push me out of the window, you asshole? Aaron swipes at Rue, almost like a slap, except that he catches the heel of his hands of Rue's neck. Rue catches Aaron's arm and twists it. Rue, shorter than Aaron, but stronger. Stop, I scream out of the window. Stop it, you idiots! It's not about me, or the camera, or the note, or the fact that Aaron deserted us. It's about all those things, but it's also about this. that 10 months ago Aaron showed up to Rue's gig, washed a kid's face clean of makeup, and incited a riot. Rue can understand on an intellectual level that Aaron is trying, or at least was trying, to atone. But at base, this is who they are to each other. Get in. Stop. You are acting nuts. But they don't hear me. I burrow into their minds, and it's a thick knot of fury and contempt. I try to quickly dive into their thoughts, access both minds at the same time. For some reason, I can only get Aaron's. That snap of sensitivity put us in the same frequency, and I get a scream of his thoughts as the scaffolding rattles. Galatians 5, Galatians, something scriptures, 5.19 to 21. Now the works of the sinful flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, complete lack of restraint. The sudden stream of Bible verse blows me backwards. I've never been able to access Aaron's mind quite like this before, and the magnitude of it, the fierceness of it, it's terrifying. Idolatry, sorcery, hatred, discord, jealousy, outbursts of anger. Then his thought pattern pauses briefly. What's the rest of it? It doesn't matter, does it? Because I don't believe that any more. Do I? God, Rue, calm down. For God's sakes, Rue. The thought breaks again, and he's back to the Bible verse. I warn you, just as I always also warned you before, that those who continue to do such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. Then something else happens. Their gifts, Rue's for machinery, Aaron's for weakness, seems to twine around each other. This can happen together. Lily and Fiona can charge a phone back to 100%. Rue and I can switch the radio station. Our gifts work in combination, but nobody has ever combined with Aaron's before. I can feel a tremor from underneath the scaffolding is shaking all over. Shit! Impurity, sorcery, hatred, discord. Stop! Please, I beg you. I think your gifts are... Usually when our gifts come together, it's in the spirit of collaboration, but right now they are coming together in combat. Aaron sees weakness. Rue talks to machinery, to buildings, to things that have been constructed. And so now the whole building is screaming with fragility. Impurity, sorcery, hatred, discord. I run downstairs, jumping over the faulty steps, desperate to catch at least one of them when they inevitably fall. Aaron's thoughts, still pounding in my head, are compulsive, confused and unwelcome. Impurity, sorcery, hatred, etc., etc. It keeps on repeating. You don't believe that, or do you? It's all connected. Magic, sex, sin, hatred, sorcery, hell. All connected. Or is it isn't? Or it isn't. I make it outside just in time for them to notice. The house is shaking. I think that Sister Assumptia, her solid armadillo body, her cold, trembling hands, she feels alive for a moment, alive in the spirit of her cherished school. Your gifts are combining, I yell from the ground. You need to stop. They stop fighting. There's a moment of stillness, and then Crack! The wooden planks snap beneath them like a biscuit. They fall, the next level catching them. I winch when I see that Rue has landed awkwardly on his side. I remember a scar on his stomach. Way of new wounds, but the school goes on trembling like a spooked horse. We have stopped. Aaron yells back. I wrestle with my own gifts, trying to regain a sense of control. What's happening? They may have stopped punching, but their powers are still scratching at each other like cats. They are witches after all, and witches don't fight the way regular people do. Crack! Another layer down. Both their bodies crashed, and Aaron howls in pain. You have to stop being so pissed with each other, I think, I yell. Stop being pissy. Impurity, sorcery, hatred, discord. They jump from the first floor scaffolding to the ground, cradling their wounds as they go. I'm not being pissy, Rue retorts, but the building does not agree. She tries to focus his gift, to relax the house like he sweet-talked the radiator, but it's too late. He's too mixed up with Aaron's talent. For weakness, the building is too immense in the dynamic, confused by itself. I hate this. I hate them for being stupid, and I hate them for jeopardizing my only responsibility in the world, to keep the place safe. This, the month of the well, the place of Sister Assumptia gave me. My own rage unfurls, a hot sense of justice flooding through me. They are being pigs. I wanted Aaron to carefully explain what happened after the funeral. I wanted to feel less alone in my sensitivity. I didn't want this childish swiping and stupid aggression. We've been through enough, haven't we? They both looked at the building. Nice work, man, Rue says dryly. As if you are going to blame this on me. A flood of white rage feels like it's about to burst me open, and then the feeling of something, stars, moons, planets, shattering of 1,000 dinner plates. I'm monetarily certain I have had a stroke, an aneurysm, a heart attack. The sense of something stretching, a new frontier being reached in my brain. My hearing goes fuzzy, my face gets hot. Well, the hell. What the hell? Aaron says it's first, then Rue says something similar. I don't know. It's suddenly hard to focus. I look to both of them, and their eyes have gone milky. I can't see anything, Rue says. Meave. Why can't I see anything? Their eyes are like opals, like white smoke, like saucers of cream. It's terrifying to look at both of their faces, so strange, so fundamentally wrong. I feel like I'm in a dream where life is the same as real life except for one horrible jarring thing. They feel around and I take a step backwards, fear trumping everything, even love, even friendship. I don't know. I remember myself and try to recover. I slip my hand in Rue's. Don't worry, babe, I'm here. I feel his hands clutching mine. Gratefully, I reach out to Aaron, grab his shoulder. Dude, I can't. The tremors have stopped. That at least is something. The scaffolding has broken, but the house is thankfully intact. I try to sound authoritative, calm. Listen, I say clearly. I don't know what's going on, but we'll fix it, okay? A cloud passes in front of the moon and rain starts to fall, scattering drops, cold and slight. It's gone, Aaron suddenly says, blinking his eyes back to their ordinary blue. Rue is the same. Liner smeared, sockets like big dark shadows. Okay, wow, that was not good. At least they have stopped fighting. They are now just partners in the inexplicable. They keep looking around, pupils refocusing, like kittens that have just opened their eyes for the first time. Rue and Aaron were blind, only for a minute, but I can tell it's not something either of them will forget in a hurry. Maybe she was protecting herself, I say, gazing up at the house. Or maybe I was protecting her. A sensitivity thing, you know. The Kilbeg sensitive, Aaron agrees, still brushing himself off, protecting the Kilbeg well. It tracts. We stand together, looking at the old building. Maybe, Rue says, sounding ashamed. Lots of people get struck blind in the Bible, Aaron murmurs. Soul. What was the deal with him? Rue asked tentatively. He persecuted Christ, and then he was blinded for 3 days, and then he saw the light. Then what? I nudged. What happened to Saul? Then he became the Apostle Paul. Name change, Rue remarked. Love that for her. Aaron raises an eyebrow. You two should really know more about this stuff. You know, you went to the Catholic school. I'm a Protestant. It isn't really more about tray bakes and church bingo, Rue says. And my parents, agnostic, I reply. Figures, Aaron sighs, with implicit disrespect for the term agnostic. All right, shall we go somewhere and talk like grown-ups? So we go back into Sister Assumptia's office, and I wonder how long it took for the other apostle to accept that Saul wasn't up to something. Wow. It's really exciting. I hope you enjoy it. Take care. See you in the next chapter.